This show's gonna be real colorful.
Show.
Yeah.
I think it is too.
Alright.
Trigger tends to do that with people, especially this podcast.
Triggered. That's for sure.
So is that the
Studio
same
Trigger.
people that did the
Just
oh my god,
just-
dude.
Yeah, it's the same people who did Romare, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean that tracks.
Hey, listen.
At least they're a little like somebody held them back.
Yeah. They said,
Oh, yeah.
can you not make this epilepsy? And then they're like,
Only for
a little.
Yeah.
yeah, a little person at a time. Anyways, so we all
Yeah, we're gonna get into that a lot.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the F Movie Podcast. We're your hosts, Nathan Price, Mason Dillon, kind of in that order in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
If you like ping-ponging around. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Kendrick Lamar and Drake
Yes.
and this beef going
Yes.
on.
Yes.
now
Pick your fighter.
Yeah, pick your Street Fighter.
Yeah.
That's racist.
That's dated. That's dated even for our recording date.
They don't know when we recorded this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you ruined
it would look
I'm-
dated
I'm-
when this came out, and it's dated when we're talking about it.
If you thought that was going to be an interesting topic,
All
make
right.
sure to go over to the Call to Action, where me and my buddy Nat cover the whole history, including a PowerPoint presentation. I'm not kidding about that. On the other news,
You got
though,
way too much time on your
Unbelievable.
hands.
sometimes he insisted. Anyways, what we are talking about today, though, Price, let him know.
Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Netflix original made by Studio Trigger.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli.
Close,
No.
close, very
Kind of
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah, Ghibli is very reserved.
opposite energy.
Yes.
It makes sense why I had no idea this thing existed.
Yeah.
This is everything I don't watch. This is so far away from my normal stuff.
It's not remotely in your bubble, and it
No.
wasn't gonna get there until
So-
Price pushed it in.
Yeah.
Who all has seen this prior?
Yeah.
Okay, so and you all had seen the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't seen it. I was aware of it, but I was aware of it because it's like known about in the gaming sphere.
Right.
It's a
right.
game.
I had
Yeah.
heard
It's
from
a game
many
property.
people that it was pretty good.
Mhm.
We'll get into what we think about that.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, did you watch any more than the mandatory 4 episodes?
I would have. I finished the last 20 minutes. I watched 3 episodes last night, and then my last one I watched after I got off work today at Covington. So I would have watched a couple more. It was it was kind of intriguing.
I didn't because I already ran it through the first time. Although this time I did watch it Japanese with English subtitles just to go ahead and change it up, and that was
Yeah,
I didn't have
yeah.
that
So
option.
I did that too.
fun.
That will reflect in my score.
He intentionally sabotages his own score with it.
Dude,
I can't help the ADD kid doesn't want to
Yeah.
look at that.
There was an English voice action,
well, okay,
right?
yeah.
Don't tell him.
What?
Yeah.
Only Japanese.
the
with
way
English
Mason-
subtitles.
Oh, on
Yeah,
your
we
website
can
they
all-
only put Japanese with English
Yeah.
subtitles.
Yeah.
See,
I had no choice.
So
Yeah.
this is the duality of the TV show reviews. So Price, go ahead and give us a little bit of context. Tell us about this show.
This show is about a kid named David Martinez. Well, I guess he's like a teenager. I guess.
David Orr.
David
Orr.
Not Davis.
Yeah.
Basically, he is a poor kid living with his mom, they're kind of living above their means a little bit.
Barely.
Yeah, very barely.
Yeah.
Very
I
start.
wonder how.
Like beginning of the episode, like his mom gets killed in just a random drive-by, completely random. She has a bunch of outstanding bills that basically get passed on to his name. He's like, I don't know how else to pay these. He finds this piece of cyber tech that he tries selling at first, and is like, I'm just going to put it in me and see what happens. And it's this,
Been there.
It's this super rare piece of equipment that you see what can happen to the wearer at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah,
in a-
because it's extracted from a guy who went like
Berserk.
cyber psycho.
Yeah,
or-
cyber psycho. Yeah.
Cyberpsychosis. He went into cyberpsychosis, which is a thing in this world, like people that basically get overly
Too
done
chromed
out.
out.
Yeah,
too
that
chromed out.
whenever it, which is a thing that does make a lot of sense. I don't know if anybody's ever like had that experience of like if you've
Having
had
my
like
spine
surgery,
replaced.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
like
honestly.
there's definitely like this feeling of like something other than yourself
Yes.
that can be off-putting. So yeah, like I would imagine this is something that someday will probably be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I like. And a lot of the show is pinned on cyberpsychosis, especially past the 4 episodes.
This show focuses on that aspect of the world in a big way.
Yes.
In a way that's not as main stage in a lot of other media within this like fictional universe.
It's hugely important later.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say it's basically just being a junkie, right? Like you
have
a
it's
fix.
not really. It's not really being a junkie. It's about like literally replacing so many pieces of yourself that.
But you do that for good, like.
But you're not.
Yeah,
they're not
so
addicted
the psychosis
to it.
is kind of. I mean, to your point, right? It's kind of like when you see addicts go too deep down the rabbit hole, so to speak, right? Yeah.
But it's by their choice. Most of these parts that they're adding.
Sure. It's comparable in that way, but the overall theme, I just like that this is just like a thing that they thought of, that they're
it's very cool.
Yeah, I mean,
there should be risk to replacing.
It definitely like the interesting thing about Cyberpunk is it's a world in which like people voluntarily find themselves in these situations to a degree, whereas like you could compare it to like Deus Ex Machina, where the people that are like getting all these mods and stuff, they are doing it because they basically have to in order to stay employed and stuff.
Okay.
So
right.
I don't know.
It's like that. It's the difference between corporate force and it being like trendy, right? Like, yeah. But David soups himself up with a cyber spine. Mm-hmm. Hijinks ensue is really kind of how you could describe the next.
And he finds a hot girl. She lures him in. And, they try to steal his part.
Lucy.
And then they're like, hey, like you can. And then he proposes to join these cyberpunks who are basically gay.
It's Avalanche. It's just Avalanche from Final Fantasy VII.
Kind of.
It's just
like
Avalanche.
I mean, they don't want to like fix the world or nothing, but they're like an Avalanche like group for sure. And you got your Barrett proxy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to join them just to have a place and earn some money.
Rebecca is Jesse.
Then they just go on from there.
I don't know. Rebecca's real crazy.
She is wild.
There's that little Kiwi
She's Cyberpunk
girl.
Jesse. With enough time, she goes
okay.
there. Yeah.
Like I like Rebecca. I think she's an interesting character, but she's like basically like a tiny Tina.
Yeah.
Or Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just off or like unhinged, crazy. Yeah.
Right. So. And not to kind of like chime in, but as the show kind of goes on, it's exploring their adventures, fighting corpos and shit like that. That's more or less like what we get for the 4 episodes.
And having never seen it, having not known anything about Cyberpunk, what I can kind of gather with their foreshadowing, I'm sure that they're doing, is that the mom was probably involved in some pretty like crazy crap corporate wise.
The only thing I really got out of it was that the mom was extracting parts from the people like on the side and then selling it to like the Cyberpunk crowd.
Well, okay, but the other side of that too is like the guy that he beats up at school. There's something going on there, which if I do continue watching the show, that's like probably the most intriguing part.
Yeah, because he's part of the corpo culture, which is the corporate culture, and his dad is super important.
I could tell.
And if you saw that scene with his dad was like, I don't really care that he got beat up, but apparently
he needs to learn his fucking lesson.
This David kid can handle tech way above what he should, so we need to test on him.
Yeah.
And then he puts his thumb on the principal, and the principal keeps calling David all the time, like, hey, David, you can come back.
Hey, we kind of need you back here, buddy. I don't know.
So you watched all the Pokemon episodes, Mason. This is like when Team Rocket was like, why is this Pikachu so strong? And they pursue him for the rest of the series.
Yeah, totally. That sounds totally right.
That's effectively what it comes down to. But yeah, we get introduced to some characters along the way. We get Lucy, who's like a little bit of like, I don't want to go full femme fatale, but she plays it off as like the cool, sexy, smart one, and then she kind of incorporates them into the group, and then you meet Rebecca, who's the real main character, and then
that's who everybody loved for some reason.
Rebecca's great. Rebecca's fun.
I don't know why.
Rebecca, I don't want to be around her ever. She seems crazy.
I love that her intro too is when they're doing the job on the bodyguard guy, and she just spills her drinks on him, and then starts just
stroking him.
Yeah.
Him rather. Oh, sorry about that, sir. Maybe I'll be more careful next time.
He's like, you better. Whoa.
Yeah. Hey, listen, woman after my own heart. But anyways, let's kind of break down episode by episode. Episode 1, I mean, it's pretty much just to jump in to the pool moment, right? It's like, here's the world, here's David, he got a spine, his mom's dead, boom.
But the thing that got me, the first episode was, I'm not throughout the whole show, but of these 4 episodes, is probably the most affecting for me because I really like how they presented the death of David's mom, because I never really thought about it like that, but like she's alive, driving him through the street. They're just having a normal kind of like argument together, and then just a random drive-by happens. She gets shot, and then she basically like she goes into like a coma surgery, and then the doctor's like, "You need to be able to pay." David's like, "I can't," and then they're like, "Well, she's dead now. Here's her ashes." Just like in one day, like his whole life, everything is just gone, and he's just like that scene where he's just holding her ashes in the city with like nobody looking at him. I thought was really good.
So, how is this supposed to be 2077, or is this just supposed to be in a universe of Cyberpunk?
Because, no, it's in the Cyberpunk universe of the game.
You see some of the characters that exist in the story.
The Survivor or Survival Bar is a huge part of the game.
Whatever her name is that runs the bar, and then also they talk about like Atom
Smasher. Yeah. He comes in.
Is it still called like Night City, I guess?
Yeah, it's like it's definitely the same world.
It's the same world.
Yeah, it's straight up the same world.
Same place.
And it's happening not kind of how I remembered it, not too terribly far off from like the game events, right? So like feels like kind of a lead up, like it's just like, hey, this is all just going on in the bigger world, like.
And I think something that we really need to talk about is the first couple of minutes of this episode, because I got Kelly to watch this with me, and we only watched the first episode, and I was like, I need to finish it, and she's like, go ahead. But anyway, on the first episode, it's like it's anime. First of all, I think you all know that, and it starts off very like guns blazing, stuff going around everywhere, stuff happening, and Kelly looks at me and she goes, "This better not be like Promare." And I said, it's funny, it's the same studio that made Promare, actually Trigger. And I was like, the rest of the show is not really like that. It's just fits and bursts of fight scenes and stuff like that. But it's not as much color and stuff going on. So did the first like part really throw you off
I
too?
hated it. Yeah. I hated it so bad.
Yeah, you sent me that video of the guy getting shot a bunch of times.
Oh my god. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, which bullets did more damage? This or Starship Troopers against the bugs?
Yeah.
Like they're neither one of them are doing jack squat.
Right.
But it was so crazy. Like so wild. And then it calmed down, which was good.
Oh, I mean, it calmed down the rest of those four episodes. Besides the end of the fourth episode.
Oh yeah, the Psycho on the end of episode 4. But no spoilers.
I think it was cool.
Yeah. Nathan, did you feel like you got dropped right back in the Promare at the beginning of the show?
I mean, I could tell something was up, but I wasn't really that put off by it because I mean, the game's very, very violent too, depending upon how you play it.
Oh, big time!
Like if you're going in like with like the hand blades, you're getting
just
in,
impaling and
you're
shredding
getting
people. Yeah,
nice.
That's good times.
Like ripping people in half.
Mantis blades.
Do you have those like prosthetic leg things too, like the girl from The Gentleman or
Kingsman? Yeah. No, you don't. I don't remember getting Mantis blades. They might have added it in.
I mean, I could imagine something like that being in the game.
Yeah, you can augment your legs, but not turn them into just blades.
That's just like the game's way of saying how can you like get faster? How can you like improve stamina? It's so they skyrocket.
Take some weight off, but add some agility.
Right. Yeah. Episode 1 does a good setup for just like, hey, welcome to the world. Here's our character. I'm like oversimplifying it, but like truly, I mean, in the narrative sense, it's just like, here you go.
Well,
and then episode 2, I feel like really kind of picks up to where 2, 3, and 4 is kind of where the journey actually really starts for David.
Yeah,
and that was all the motivation that kid needed. Like he even showed up to that like doctor's place with what was that? Just like a collector's card or like a. He showed up with like a poster. And he was like, "Oh man, it's the thing." Blah,
no, it was a bag.
It was the bag with the spine in it.
Yeah. No, that was a duffel bag. He shows up, I thought. Was it a clear bag?
The bag that he's holding.
It's like a medical grade bag.
It's like a medical bag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like, time to chrome the F out.
Yes, you're right.
And he's like, yeah, let's get juicy or whatever they said. You know, like, I don't know. 27th.
And I know
they were speaking Japanese the whole time.
Yeah. Which we also didn't talk about when the doctor guy, whenever David comes in there to get his surgery, is watching like virtual porn with that going on. And
with a thing between
and he's talking to him and just like, whatever.
Hey,
it was just another Monday.
Yeah.
As Dylan would very well know, like Trigger is a very horny studio.
Yeah.
The fact that they put it down for Promare, like there's not like horniness in that at all, is amazing. Because everything the rest of Trigger's pretty much their entire catalog, besides Delicious in Dungeon and Promare.
Yeah, Delicious in Dungeon's pretty tame.
When they're not doing their high profile stuff, like
they're throwing in as much smut as they can.
So much smut.
If we could, I would just throw in clips of Gurren Lagann for reference, but we won't. So
I tried watching that was too much. Kill la Kill I could put up with.
Kill la Kill's great.
Gurren Lagann was
Kill la Kill may be the
much.
epitome of what we're talking about, which is another thing I would just go YouTube it. We're not going to do clips. Nathan won't do it.
But I'm never putting that on the wheel.
Oh God, I might. I actually really like it.
Yeah, you might, but them two would hate it.
I don't know. Mason might find it funny. But anyways, we're not here to talk about other things. Yeah, so Studio Trigger doesn't hold back on which makes complete sense in this universe, though. This is
it
does.
It seems appropriate. It doesn't seem like
Yeah.
I mean it's a little ridiculous, sure, but it's not like out of place in those settings.
Right.
Like there's a guy that when David's going down the street, just
The
walking
fat
places,
dude just
yeah,
on
you
the-
know,
yeah.
get like he has some contraption on his dick, just going off all the time.
Yeah.
Just as a side thing.
I mean, listen, like Blade Runner 2049, a couple years before this, one of my really enjoyed films, just has giant Anadarmus naked around and stuff like that, and this is not in the same technical universe, but 30-something years later into the objective future from that, yeah, why not? Everything just has pumpers.
I mean, a cyberpunk future is depraved.
Yeah, it is. It's meant to be.
It is amoral.
Yeah.
Everybody's a junkie in some kind of way.
Yep.
So
it's full addiction, full corpo. It's full it's Mad Max meets just our regular world pushed to the future.
It's like basically, what if there's not an apocalypse?
Yeah.
But things just continue to go to such an extreme.
Yeah.
It's really the actual future.
It really is.
I was gonna say that was my other question, is because is Night City just everywhere? Because I wouldn't want to live in this city. I would want to get out of this.
Night City is in California.
Yeah.
So the game, it's not it's a big city, but it's not like an insanely big city.
I just meant, is this going on worldwide?
Oh, it's that culture perpetuate everything? Yeah,
because to me, if I was
even
driving
if you
down
go
the
to
street
boons,
and I was involved in a shootout,
Yeah.
Gangbang style, drive by,
Yeah.
I don't think I would want to live there. I don't think I would want to be a part of
All
anything
right.
that's happening.
We're talking shit about California. I was born there.
I was gonna say you don't want to go to
part
Memphis.
of the discussion there is the fact that there's no opportunity in the future
to move on
Right.
somewhere.
So you kind of
You're there,
not
you-
even
and
to
you're
leave
stuck.
there.
Yeah.
It's like if you
Happened? You delete something?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
okay.
like, just some family videos.
Just
just
my
my
graduation
just
video.
one of our other recordings.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
sweet.
We didn't need that.
It was
No,
probably
no.
from
That-
Possum.
Yeah.
I just cut out the middle of Possum.
Yeah. That's fine.
We only needed 5 minutes.
Just
on that
intro,
one.
outro.
All right, let's talk about Possum.
Very much
Possum's
okay
bad.
with
Why did we watch this? Don't watch Possum. That's our show. Yeah, that's effectively it. But anyways, clap sync. I don't know.
We're not.
I know.
I'm not.
Yeah, he's gonna leave this in here. So the we had to time it out and time back in. We're back. So
We're back.
yeah. So episode 2, we get introduced into Lucy, and we get introduced to the gang, and we get introduced into all of that stuff. Mason, did you think it was cool when David did that moment on the subway?
I actually. Oh, well, it happened before that. It happened in the classroom.
Yeah, he does the
When he
beatdown one, but
beat-
whenever he does it with Lucy,
the guy who did the fire is
It's that kind of bullshit that I'm like, oh man, here we this is
you're
a
like-
cool world, this is a cool scheme, but this right here I could do without.
Mason's like, I like the world, I just don't like how I'm getting dragged through it.
Yes, well, it's just, I don't know, it's like camera angles, it's like, film techniques. Like,
Yeah.
do you have to use everything? Do you have to use every single color? Do you have to use every single filter? And that's what they were doing
And
multiple
Trigger did.
times
Yeah.
with the circling around. Why is this dude spending so much time going all the way around him?
Right.
Like, he's basically...
Yeah, I mean, he could have leaned over
Yeah.
and just came.
Yeah.
Like 20 times he could have hit him because
Just
it's basically
jaw
frames,
locked him. Right. I know. Yeah, it's literally.
Anyways.
But I mean, you could also argue it's just if you can move really fast,
Might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well.
You just
wanna
kind of
see me do it again?
You kind of just
You know?
dance on him for a minute.
Yeah, I mean it was fine. It was kind of meh.
I think here's a little bit of a funny thing. During anytime the Spino speed activates, I do think
something's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I do think there's a missed opportunity to show it in perception of other people without, just to see somebody
They show it.
Yeah.
In a later episode, past the first 4, there is a moment where they do show him, where they show the slowdown stuff, and then they show what actually happened in real time.
Oh yeah, it does show
after.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had been a minute since I'd watched this one. But yeah, I wish I kind of caught it earlier on. I guess it's now my reframed complaint. Other than that, though, yeah, we get Lucy. Lucy's fun. Yeah, I mean, the whole, like, he gets injured. I mean, he ends up in the ambulance bed, and that whole little scene is just like, all right, we're just supposed to love Lucy.
Yeah.
And I guess we do.
That and, like, I don't know. I'm sure everyone could just see right through her, like, from the pickpocket
ulterior
scene.
motive from the moment. She's
Exactly.
telling us up
Which is
front,
fine.
like, I've got other, like, things in mind.
Yeah.
Right? And then, was it episode 2 where they go to the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the song. Everybody loves it. I don't know. Did you?
And then he gets like beat down because it was set up.
I'm glad that you brought up the song.
Yeah.
Like the music in this show.
Mm.
It does make a lot of good choices. I like that song.
It's a good song.
I don't like
Don't
what
you
they
say
did to the
Franz
Franz
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand
Shut the fuck
intro
up.
Yeah, the
song.
intro
Yes.
one? Yeah.
No, they
I
changed
hate
it.
The change to it. It
Yeah.
sounds like it would have been like.
It's-
I just feel like
it's
it's
cut.
edging me at the start of every
Yeah.
episode to be like, "There's a better version of this freaking song
Go listen to
that would have worked."
Because
Yeah.
they
Because
say
a
like
20-second intro.
because
though.
they say we're gonna burn this city.
Yeah.
And instead of
Yeah.
like, they said we're gonna burn.
burn it.
We're gonna burn. Like,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
why?
Stop.
Yeah,
Why
it
would you cut it
sounds
there?
Terrible.
Yeah,
I'm
they-
into it because I actually really like the song just in general.
No,
It's in a soundtrack that I know, but
Oh.
I think it's in a Burnout game. Actually.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it. Right.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I love it. I think it might be a little bit overplayed because half the time it's at the beginning of the episode,
And then
it's always at the end of the episode.
Right.
No, it's a different song at the end. It's a very different song.
It's at the end of the first one. It's Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, because it's showing you the theme song. They do that.
Okay,
And-
and
and
then
then
it's,
oh, yeah,
and then
so
the
it's in the
others
intro
too,
of
yeah.
all the other ones.
It's an intro of all
It's
the
the
other
intro of
ones.
all the other ones,
Different.
but the short version. And
They
then
do that a lot in
Gotcha.
anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the first episode never has the opening
Yeah.
song because they just want you to get into the episode
They
and
just
then
dump
it
you
ends
in.
with the OP and then the next one starts how it should.
Right.
I think Tower of God was like that. I think it had a really cool intro song.
Yeah, Tower of God had a sick intro song, and then
Yeah.
it had different like wops on the outros, I think, as well.
Maybe it was an outro. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. Either ways. Yeah, but music overall, I think, is like pretty solid on this one. I mean, and I was just like, I remember whenever I was first watching the song, I was like, "That's Franz Ferdinand, isn't it? I haven't heard that band since like 7th grade." And I'm like,
Take me out.
yeah, and I was just like, you just know I mean, it's kind of like how. Actually, it's better than. I'm gonna give it credit for it. It's better than.
I thought it was the Bravery at first, and then I actually waited
Yeah.
until the subtitles
It's-
happened at the end of the very
They're
first
in the
episode.
close enough
Yeah.
groups
They
of
are.
that
They're
of
very
bands
close.
of that time.
Yeah.
Who do I think? Offspring.
I don't know.
You know, you're thinking of Offspring and bands like that who have like one song technically. You know what I mean? But Franz
Franz Ferdinand
Ferdinand's
has
good.
a lot. Of
They
good
do,
songs.
but it's because I've only heard, you know, it was Take Me Out, and I hadn't heard anything else from him from like up until like this again, and then I was just like, that's just Franz Ferdinand. I'm like, that's a good thing that they have a sound, but not necessarily. It's not the Offspring effect where it's like they have one song repeated in different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Where this has a sound, and I like a band that has a sound with it, and I was just like, oh, cool, yeah, this is a bop. All right, thanks, Franz Ferdinand. Good to know that you guys are still thriving.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't a new song.
No, it's not, but
it's a down-tooled version of the song.
right. But then it made me think about that. That's nice. A little nostalgia's fun for a little Cyberpunk future.
Maybe it'll give them a bump in like plays.
Yeah, the
online
Spotify
stuff.
playlist, they just get
their
that one.
attention.
I liked it on YouTube Music.
Yeah.
You got something.
Oh, you liked it?
Yeah.
That's
Man,
a good song.
They
Like I
made a
said,
fraction of a penny off that, probably.
Hey, that's
Hey.
my fraction of a penny. Though.
Yeah, it
I'll
is.
be glad to pay it.
Just stream it a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
So episode 3, we start out with David in hot water. He's got.
Yeah, he's been made, right?
Yeah.
He got.
Yeah,
And now he's getting put
by-
through the ringer.
By then, the dad boss has like already been doing all the work for a while, and I have a hard time not calling him Urian because he in English is the same voice actor as a Street Fighter character named Urian, who also looks very similar to him and has the same attitude. They're pretty much the same character.
His name's Maine.
Nobody gives a shit about that guy. Yeah, so Urian is in this game, and he's just like, get that kid, you know, in English, or Jamatoto, you know, in Japanese as it kind of goes on. The voice is notably different. And then from that point forward, we just start being like, I like that it's just like, oh, David's in hot water. Never mind, he's just in the gang now. Welcome. And it happens a little too quick for my taste, if I'm being honest.
I don't know. I mean, you got to move it along a little bit, and plus,
they also like they have a heel turn very quickly once they realize he's the son
of
Yeah.
Gloria.
and
Which is
that
the
she
mom.
had just died, so they're just like, oh man, feel really bad. for
And,
this
and
kid.
even then, he wasn't totally on their side until he earned their respect with the hijacking of the car.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I don't even know how to drive. Like they're like, well, figure it out, and then he
Do it.
does. And then he, what was it at the end? He did something that they really liked. Like he saved Lucy or
Well, that guy who had
something.
the cyber dick or whatever, he killed that person.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was episode 4.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
at the end of the
episode
the end of the car hijacking, like he did something on top of like getting them out of the car situation, which he did some crazy car moves when like he went across the median. And then like
That
somehow
was
drove
insane.
through everything.
Even like it just looked like it was flipping like a
driving.
pancake, like in like one dimension frame.
Yeah,
or
I mean, he
something.
was like flipping it up on its side
Yes.
and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how to drive this car. Also, David.
But I've also
Yeah.
played Gran Turismo for the rest of
Right, right.
Somehow his back spine like uses that power. Like, he
Yes.
turns it on and he's like
Yep.
so good at that too. I don't know. Who cares?
The spine just does everything you want, which, yeah, I get it. Whenever you have a broken spine, you don't feel like you can do anything.
But
you
then,
want.
but then he earns the gang's respect, and he's like, I want to go on more jobs. I want to go on more jobs, and that's basically episode 3. And then episode 4 is him getting really in with the gang. Like half the episode is almost a montage of them like getting closer.
doing more
Ma-
little side jobs.
Maine
and-
telling David like you need to plow,
Mhm.
and then he's going around doing these odd jobs for people.
Yeah.
Which I love. The one he did for Rebecca was delivering the hands.
Yeah.
To the
He
guy.
entered.
Gave
the
him the hand,
Yeah.
and then he's like, "Why don't you deliver it to me?" And then Rebecca shoots him. He's like, "Come get it yourself."
Mm.
Rebecca is the best character in the show. You can't tell me otherwise. It's just like,
Well,
I would say she's the best. She's fun.
no, she's so fun. I
and
mean,
then, well, I was gonna say, and then of course you have like out of the whole gang, you have this super limmy dude that's like crazy,
Yeah.
like walks like this.
you got
about
Dawson from
95%,
Street Fighter
Yes.
also from the game. Yeah.
just trying to
Just
agitate
freaking
this
stretchy
dude.
arm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so glad that he makes it to the end of the series, too.
We made it to the end of this episode.
Yeah.
He didn't even make it there.
Now, we're in episode 4. Episode 4, yeah, the hijinks have been ensuing, and then Cyber Psycho, they just drop him in and say, we haven't killed anybody in a minute, have we?
That's exactly
Yeah.
the vibe, because I was like, you know what? Like, it's supposed to make you feel something. All right.
Yeah.
Because this is, I didn't even know the guy's name.
I didn't either.
No, yeah, I don't remember.
Call him Mantis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr.
Yeah.
Mantis.
Toboggan.
Toboggan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mantis Toboggan. Yeah.
He's just like an interesting side character. That
Right.
And he does look interesting.
Like he's part of the crew. At this point, you think
Yeah.
like they're the crew. Something may happen down the line.
He's
Probably
Jesse.
not right now.
Yeah.
He's Jesse from Fast and Furious at the end of the first one. That gets gunned down.
Yeah. No, I think it's just, it comes back to this idea of the show just running, and I think this is just the whole plot device of like having multiple characters. The show is kind of telling you like, hey, we want to remind you that this is like, while all the fun and games is fun, like there are stakes in the show. But
Well, also in this city, in this universe.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
if you look at somebody the
nothing.
wrong way, they'll
Yeah.
blow your head off.
yeah, I do
Crazy.
think it starts to give, I mean, and no spoilers, it starts to give me a little bit of Rogue One flashbacks of like when, we're killing characters that are like, look like they're notable. Is this going to be a theme?
Mm.
And then it's just like, watch and find out, you know? But overall, it was just like the Cyber Psycho part's cool. It's a neat little fight. Rebecca loses it and starts blasting everything.
Well, before that, like when he goes up there, Mantis or whatever is like, "Stop peeing on our turf! Don't do that!" And he keeps talking.
They were
crap to
telling
this
him to
guy.
hurry
Yeah.
the fuck up and get back up
Yeah,
here.
and he just kept going and going, and just suddenly the guy just takes out this big gun and just blows his head into
Yeah.
30 million different pieces, and it shows it from multiple angles.
Yeah.
For a couple minutes,
Which I thought
I
was
feel
so
like, yeah.
funny.
They animated that and they said, do you want to do it again? And they're like, yeah. And then they just did it like 6
They
more
did it
times.
from different perspectives.
Right. I'm convinced that it was like, there was supposed to only be one cut of that shot, but then all the, like 6 animators were like, alright, you want to just do different versions and then make it
Well,
one? And they're
did
like,
you notice that he was still standing there? Like, I
just
guess
still, just
Yeah,
do it,
he's,
yeah.
I don't know how he did that.
It
Yeah.
made me think maybe the guy was
Well,
like
I mean,
holding
you
it.
know, if you're mostly robot and your head gets blown
Oh,
off,
yeah.
I mean, why is the
would
body?
anything move?
Right,
That's
you're just
true.
kinda
He might
like-
stay frozen.
I didn't think about that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you cut off the head of the Hydra, you know what I mean? Like, 2 more is just going to take its place, but in this case, no more heads take its place.
No.
But the body just stick around, because, yeah, I think you're dead right. It's just kind of, like, solidly planted there at this point.
Well, and
Yeah.
what's his name shot the guy in the head, but I guess that's the whole robot thing. David ends up like doing his little
Yeah.
thing.
To save Lucy.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun. Yeah.
shoots him in the head, and then he's also at risk because the guy came back and almost shot David, but then he got punched by a big
Man.
urine dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big hands, McDaddy boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sure wish David had those big hands.
I'm sure he can turn him in and
Yeah,
do
I'm sure that won't happen.
No, it wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, it's like a cool little like fight outro for like the little part of the show that we reviewed.
And we can finally get to the goods of this episode, and that is just him fucking swooning over Lucy, running edges or whatever. That was the only thing I didn't understand. I didn't understand that. What is that?
Running edges? Oh, the hacking.
She said that there was like an edge runner.
That she's an edge runner.
And something else runner.
It's very important. A net runner.
Net runner.
Yeah. It's very important. Which, if you saw like during the montage where she's in the tub, like naked at that one point, that's what she's doing, which is like comes into play later.
So
like she's doing that then, and it's a very rare ability that not many people can use, and it's very useful.
In short, it's just like projecting yourself into hacking.
Okay.
Yeah. There's hacking, but then there's like. Okay. I don't know. The only way I can describe this is Ghost in the Shell hacking. Like,
sure, but they're also running physically too.
Well, that's just to keep her in shape.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what she was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if anything correlated or if there was
I think that
they just really like exercise. Like I didn't understand.
I'm pretty sure my headcanon behind it is that like you're gonna project how you imagine yourself. So if you're like getting out of shape, if you're really like
you're
gonna project that in there, right? So I think it makes sense that there's like this is your internal version of like you. Cool. So you want it to match with your body.
She does do a lot of like hacking type things too, like with other people's chips and stuff.
She's always just hacking, doing a little hacking things.
She tried to do it to the dick guy.
For me, it was the most fun way to play the game.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly how I played it.
I would just like stand outside of a building, hack everybody, and then go inside with everything already cleared.
I was the opposite. I put everything into strength, and I just went in and just like punched everybody.
No way.
I played it like Nathan. I straight up was just like, let's just hack it. And after a while, I was like, this does feel like cheating. After a while,
like it very quickly was like, this is too easy.
Yeah,
I can see through all the walls, and I walk through empty buildings at all times.
That's how Watch Dogs was.
Yeah,
it lost a lot of its appeal
like that
because
too.
of that.
Yeah,
like you just look through all the cameras.
I'm just hacking the camera and hacking them through
the
cameras, and I'm like, right.
Well, and you're setting things off too. Is it like that for Cyberpunk?
It was mostly
triggering.
You can take over turrets and stuff, but it's mostly just like directly hacking into
the person.
The person.
Yeah, for video games.
You do.
Yeah.
Hot Shots Golf.
Watch Dogs like 9 years ago.
Yeah. But Watch Dogs has a great chess simulator, so I just play chess the entire time.
Yes.
It's the only time
dice game.
Yeah. Watch Dogs is actually probably a bad game, but the chess
it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered that thing, and I was looking forward to it.
You would pre-order
it. Was Ubisoft. I was like, all right.
Oh, man.
It had Splinter Cell, like, little sprinkles in there with the, the sneaking.
I get it.
Man, this man is still,
he's living
swooning over Splinter Cell.
I need Sam Fisher
so
back.
many years later.
But listen, the co-op Splinter Cell's the peak, though. Yeah.
One of the best games out there.
I never played
Oh, my God. No, I will say this, and this is, like, we'll close the Splinter Cell talk after this. The co-op Splinter Cells are like truly
it's so good.
are truly 10 out of 10 fun games.
So
like
good.
The hijinks you can fucking do.
Oh yeah.
When you're rappelling a buddy down
we're getting off topic here, Splinter.
Let me have what I have.
Let him have it. It's the last we'll ever have.
Come to the video game podcast where we record once every millennia.
Talk about a
millennia
10-year-old game.
All right. We're ancient pharaohs trapped in an Egyptian body now. That's how we record every millennia. Anyways, that's episode 1 through 4. So I guess let's just transition the shape of the body then, because that kind of makes sense with it. Yeah.
I guess. Don't we not really do that for TV?
It gets a little weird.
It's kind of hard to do.
I think we kind of
because there's 4 different episodes.
I think we substitute it for "Are you going to keep watching?"
Oh yeah, that's fair. No, I'm not going to watch this.
You've already seen it.
Yeah, I know.
I say this every single time we watch a show.
Uh-huh.
And besides, like, Freaks and Geeks, I don't think I've stayed true to, like, I'm going to keep watching. I want to keep watching this one just because I do think it's
if you watch this one, you got to go back to watch Tower of God because Season 2's coming out soon.
I've promised you.
Yeah, you do. Episode 5 is when it peaks off.
I would like to keep watching this because there's so much stuff that they're trying to open up before now, or before the 4th episode, and I'm like, well, I'd like to see where that goes.
And it's very self-contained, too. At the end of the series, it's over.
So you're done.
Yeah, it's a one and done, just like Shogun.
We'll see. How many episodes is it?
I don't know.
10 or 12, something like that. Typical Netflix, like, little mini-season. Nathan.
I watched till a little ways into episode 7, and I just, like, closed it out and was like, actually, I don't care.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, so...
Like, I was trying, and I was like, I mean, it's not bad, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like subbed stuff. I just don't.
Yeah.
I want to watch a thing. I don't want to be reading so much of the time.
If you go on Netflix,
I find it very distracting.
Yeah.
Somebody actually asked Hayao Miyazaki about like should your films be subbed or dubbed, and he said I want people to watch my movies, however that is.
Old man Miyazaki, the traditionalist, said I don't want them to be reading my movies. I want them to watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's old conservative Japanese man. We can't trust him for anything. He's never done anything great.
That's what really hamstrung this from being anything that I'm going to want to further engage with.
You guys, Nathan had to stare at the
Yeah,
screen.
he had to look at it.
Like that's what's
And that's not how he
crazy about
watches
this.
things.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
you got him out of his
Absolutely
element.
not.
All right, so I want to ask this though. Aside from just the subtitles and things like that, by episode 7, without any spoilers, because Mason might follow through on this, did you feel like you were kind of getting what the show was gonna do, and it was starting to like slow down? Because I do feel like I remember thinking halfway through the series, I ended up continuing watching it, but I felt like I was like, I feel like I
know what's gonna happen to David, and I don't really like where his character's going. Like, there's a lot of things where it's just like, I don't really like where this show's
Like
headed.
where his character was going in episode 1. He literally like busted down the door and be like, just put it all on me, boy.
For the most part, watching this just made me want to play the Cyberpunk DLC.
Yeah.
And that's probably really all they really, want.
This is just full advertising for it, right? They want
just to get you to play their game. Because watching something like this just makes me think like, man, games are so much better than things like this.
Yeah.
Like, the experience of playing a game is way more engaging and entertaining to me by a huge mile than a show like this is.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, I'm on the opposite spectrum when it comes to something like this. I love the style and everything that this has, and I'm going to rewatch it. I'm going to keep watching and just finish it. It's only 8 more episodes. It's not too much, and I really love all the characters and the world that they have, and they present it in such a fun way. I love the style of Studio Trigger. I can't really get on board with a lot of their stuff. Like, I really wanted to do Delicious in Dungeon. I really want to watch Gurren Lagann because I know it's a classic, but
it's also good. But
sometimes they just do go in a way that I really don't like, and this is not that. I thoroughly enjoy it.
I'll say, having like watched it through, I had to really. This is just kind of like a funny parallel story. The first time I watched this through, I had gotten my booster shots. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm like trapped in bed waiting for like the inevitable to occur because I knew it was going to be like the flu symptoms, effectively, the fever and all that.
You're going to have to lay there for the next 2 or 3
days. So I was chilling and I was like watching through the show, and I think I was like, it probably was right around episode 4 or 5 that I remember thinking like, all right, cool. I'm like starting to get a little sleepy, so like I flipped it off. Or I thought I flipped it off, but I think I just fell asleep through it. And then it was like nighttime, and there's a little like plushie light that you can like touch in our room, right? And our cat was up at the time. Hannah was gone that weekend. I was watching the animals, kind of watching them. So I'm asleep, going through fever dreams, being in Cyberpunk in my dreams, and waking up because the cat knocked it over, and I wake up to like glowing lights, and then this on the television.
you transported
I've
into it.
Devolved from fever dreams into this, so I have a really unique experience.
That's cool.
And really being in this show.
You might as well have taken mushrooms.
I effectively was, man. Like, it was such a trip. And then I remember thinking, like, all right. And the times where I had, like, moments of clarity between it, I was just like, this show's actually just fine. I'm just like, like,
cruise.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, this is going to happen. Yeah,
nice.
Okay, good talk.
Yeah.
But I will say it's an interesting experience. 7 out of 10. Would recommend some psychedelic trip of being in this show or just getting a booster shot that gets you flu symptoms.
So this is a 7 for you?
Yeah, spoiler. We're probably gonna just be okay. I'll say as a total package, it's a 7, but we'll save the 4 episodes score because that's where the real meat and potatoes is.
That's fair.
Do we just go right in the score then?
Yeah. I thought you were doing it.
Nathan, you go first on the first 4.
I mean, again, if I had watched it dubbed, I probably would be a lot happier with it.
Try telling you, but
it is interesting, I mean, it's a world that I find interesting. I played Cyberpunk when it came out. I was very hype on it finally releasing. I didn't have any of the problems that everybody else in the world seemed to have with it.
Yeah.
That's all I heard about with this damn game.
We did dodge bullets.
I got to play it perfectly fine, and I won 100% of the game, and I put countless hours into it, so I very much enjoy the setting. It's exactly like Cyberpunk settings are something I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Blade Runner and whatnot. It really it sucks because it really is just because it's dubbed that I'm not like as sub that I'm not as stoked on this as
I sure wish there was a way to watch it dubbed.
Yeah.
Damn it!
If only. Studio Trigger, give us the English version today.
And I remember even thinking, like, man, it's got English songs in it too. Like, why is this not dubbed?
Oops. Nathan's gonna like kill me one of these days for like giving him my only means
to watch something.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess I'll give it like a 7. I don't know. Maybe I would watch it again if I can watch it dubbed, just so that I can actually enjoy it instead of being annoyed. Because I didn't really talk about this during the recording yet, but was your experience with the subtitles that they would continue talking and the subs would go off of the screen?
No.
Because that was happening to me, and that made me very, very annoyed.
Were you on like Bluetooth or something?
No.
You were just watching it outright? Because sometimes like, Bluetooth, like, headphones or something will do that. It'll like lag just slightly.
No, it wasn't. This wasn't a lag thing. It would like the subs would be there.
Yeah.
I would be reading them instead of looking at what was happening. And they would just like go away and they would continue talking. And it's like, well, I guess I got the gist of what they were saying.
Yeah.
Nathan,
whatever.
What was your AR score back in elementary school? I mean, just rough estimate. Were you like maybe middle of the pack, maybe a little lower?
I think it was a reading copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not reading
a combination issue.
Yeah, they're not doing that.
It might have been. I'm just kidding.
No,
I actually didn't have any issues with that. The only if I'm talking about issues for the subs is they put so much slang in this show. It was almost like it was like just put together by someone that maybe spoke mostly English, but like didn't
like
really.
Chom.
Yeah,
well,
like
Chum,
that's
Chrome,
really
some of those made sense,
it,
but it did seem like it was lacking some like actual grammar. But then I guess it was just kind of like, well, this is how this
there's
universe
a lot
is.
Of slang and
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Which
a lot
we know
of
Dylan
things.
doesn't like because of Jennifer's body. He hated all the slang that they used there.
I don't
you say no.
No, I don't mind slang as a whole general concept. I don't like the AI generated slang that they use for Jennifer's body.
AI wasn't used then.
Oh, it absolutely was. They pulled that from
wasn't.
Here's the problem: they used the AI at that time to generate that slang, which is why it's so.
Give your score.
It's hilariously bad.
But Price, didn't you say that it was so corny on purpose? Like it was trying to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So the dialogue and some of the bullshit that they were saying in Jennifer's body was over the top.
Right.
Like
on purpose. That's what the movie was.
That's what he doesn't like. It's just because it's just like, man, would you stop? Like that's what I get.
Mean Girls is the right amount of like being in on it.
Mean Girls isn't the right thing about
Jennifer.
I agree.
Disagree.
I'm gonna show this to somebody.
Anyways, the first 4 episodes are probably actually just a 7. Yeah. The show dropped. I mean, the show in action goes up later, but the show in execution, I remember thinking, kind of giving my full big picture of it, does drop a little bit in quality. Not like so much where I don't dislike it. It probably like the big picture, I'd probably give it like a 6.5, just because it just is like, it's fine. It starts stronger than it ends, in my opinion.
You're crazy.
I
love the ending.
I think that I mean, again, I'm not going to cover that because that's like spoilers and all that extra stuff that you didn't sign up for on this, but. I guess the character directions and stuff like that. Whenever it starts solidifying what they're doing with them, I didn't care for it, and it took me out of it in a lot of ways with it. Again, the action gets better. That's great. We get more boobs. That's also great. But
there was a lot
overall, I think like what I felt like, or maybe some of the better episodes, are probably episodes 1 through 6, and probably right around 6 to 7 is where I remember thinking like, I feel like I've got it, and it's not getting better for me. So. I mean, that's just my take on it, but yeah, I'd say the first 4 are definitely like a 7. It's a good pick.
I just like snowballed in my brain while you were talking there after the nudity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like in that very first episode, when you first kind of see the nudity and like you see the contraptions between the guy's legs and stuff. There's at some point during the VR experience that had like that like hentai like droplets and stuff. Like, do you remember that? There was like 3 girls and there was like water coming down the sides and stuff. And you're just like, oh my god, this does make you just feel like, wow.
That's Trigger's base
it's just
level.
Trigger though? Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
Listen, I'm gonna make Kill la Kill 4 episode 1 on it. Just to be like, listen,
that's a lot.
It gets more absurd.
Hey.
But that's about as high as it goes with Kill la Kill.
This show was pretty fun. I think that it was a lot of fun when it wasn't trying to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
My least favorite was the first 8 minutes of this series.
The pro Mary.
Yes,
Yeah.
man. This thing just drops in, just starts blasting cops, and just is a tank. And then the military's like, oh look, nothing's happening down there. Let's just phase in.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, overall, I think I'd give it a 7.5.
Mm.
I'm intrigued enough. I do plan on trying to watch it, but
you always say that.
I know, and it's
Yeah.
another Netflix thing,
Yeah.
Arcane. I don't have that, so it's I physically have to do what we were just doing today.
Mm-hmm.
But
back to the janky websites.
I know that might be slower on subtitles. So I don't know.
Do you just
or
want to come
fast.
over, meet our cat, and then you can just use our Netflix
use the
downstairs?
Netflix?
Because,
You can't use your password anymore.
No, you sure can't.
That's-
Can't do that.
That's the issue.
Thanks, Netflix.
Just set up a VPN.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
NordVPN.
well, no, not like
Sponsored
that.
by.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
You can set up your own VPN system.
Yeah,
You
sure.
can have your own.
I promise you, Mason
network
doesn't even.
that you like. It's like a sonic wall kind of thing.
You're sounding like Cyberpunk to Mason right now. I promise you. Like you know these.
I got in really bad trouble with the VPN thing.
Did you?
I'll tell you guys later.
I'd love to hear that.
It was
fun.
probably one of the most.
You got caught cyber hacking?
Oh, dude, it was bad. Anyways, 7.5 for me.
All right.
It was neat, but I don't know. It's a very basic story. The kid that gets involved with a gang storyline is a little bit
Cliche.
cliche, but I do like the world, and I do like how they're going through. The basically plug and play parts, super neat.
Yeah.
Like there's that guy, the doctor, that just had limbs hanging around. You want a foot?
Oh, him cutting the spine.
Yes,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is cool.
The gore of it.
Yeah.
Dylan's the only other one here who's finished the whole thing, and he, in my opinion, has been talking very negative about the rest of the show, which I don't agree at all.
I'm just gonna keep ranking it the more.
I think it only gets better because these episodes are establishing who these characters are and their dynamics together, whereas the rest of the show has already got that established. It can just run with it and really explore what this world is about and how these characters interact with each other, especially after the death of this Mantis guy who was integral to this crew. As you saw from episode 4, where they were hyping him up, where he was doing the little dance and everything, and then Buff Girl's I know what you use that hand for, and he was like, yeah, you want to find out? So you see he's so important to the group, and then they blow his head off, and then the rest of the episodes you get to see how that affects the crew, how that changes their dynamic, how they realize they're not invincible anymore because this world's so volatile, and this really exemplifies that and just carries through the rest of the episodes and greatly affects David, as you can see from this episode where that Mantis guy gets his head blown off and he just freezes up and it's what is happening? And then Maine has to tackle him and snap him and get him ready to go. But I love the style that Trigger presents in their anime, and thankfully the story that's going along with that style is engaging to me. I really like seeing where this goes. Lucy could have been, just Dylan was saying, this femme fatale character, but she has some depth. She's getting the kind of she's the tragic kind of backstory that you're seeing a little bit of, but she's got more nuance to her than you would think, and all these other characters really get developed, especially Maine. He gets a lot more development, and he gets the best episode of the show later on. And it's the desert episode, if you remember that one. It's so cool. It's very different.
2 episodes later.
It's
it's only 2
I think
later?
it's episode 6 or...
Okay. And I think that one is
Or it might have been 5. even.
incredible.
It starts to peak really quickly.
No, it's 6.
And it's just, no, it doesn't. It keeps
It
going, and the way it ends, I think, is perfect. Unfortunately, my score is conflating the 4 episodes with the rest of it, just because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Arcane. Is I love those first 3 episodes, but I love the rest of the show too. I love these first 4 episodes. I love the rest of the show too. So I'm giving this a 9. I really, really enjoy it.
Cool.
And it's really cool how it's a one-run show.
What would you give the whole series?
A 9.
9. Okay. I didn't know if that was any different. Kind of
It's almost like Shogun, like it's opposed to Shogun, where I would give Shogun a higher score if I knew it wasn't continuing.
Yeah.
I know it's continuing now, so I want to give it a lower score.
You're just pissed.
You knew what you had, just stop.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was a good hearty spin, Nathan.
Yes, it was.
You got a red or a yellow.
Spin 2. Give me
Your clothes.
your clothes.
Yeah.
What?
It was
Terminator 2?
It was an arrow.
Well,
Or Terminator
so
1?
that's the thing is which Terminator is it? I think Terminator 2.
Yeah, it has to be
Okay.
That's the one
T2 is the definitive.
That's the one I've heard the
can't
most
wait.
about. I'm glad you picked
Terminator
that.
1, I do like it, but like in Terminator 1, Arnold's the bad guy.
Right.
In Terminator 2, he's the good guy.
Yeah.
Sarah Connor is like big in the first one, correct?
Yeah, well,
yeah, it's more about her
son in the second one, right?
Jack Connor.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
Yeah,
It's
wow.
T2.
Didn't
T2.
watch the first and the second one.
This is part of my my duo selection of Starship Troopers and Terminator in honor of Helldivers. For
Ooh.
the,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, the bugs in the
Yeah.
one. That's like a good choice.
Well,
I like
I'm
the
actually
themes.
excited for this one
I am
because
too.
I've heard it's like one of those
Is it
movies.
your first watches?
Yeah.
I've
Wait.
seen both of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
I've never seen it.
I
But
think
it's
I
been a
might actually
while,
watch
yeah.
the first one again too.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that you need to?
No,
No.
I don't think you do.
I'm still going.
It's
to.
But,
an
I mean,
easy enough
like,
universe to drop
I
into.
probably will anyway.
Yeah.
Does he say I'll be back?
Yeah,
He does.
absolutely he does.
Yeah.
Wait, is that this one?
That's no, well, the first movie is where he says I'll be back, and then it also may or may not say it in the second
Okay,
one. Yeah.
I
gotcha.
feel like it
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
does, but
I don't remember.
you're right to be excited.
Yeah.
This is a
T2 is-
genuine good like.
Yeah, this is
you
pretty
can't
peak
die
sci-fi.
without seeing it.
Yeah.
T2 is fantastic.
It's so good.
It is at this point a modern classic.
And I'm pretty sure he
for
hangs
sci-fi.
butt in this one. No, he doesn't,
No,
but the other guy does.
No, the other guy. Yeah. Oh, we'll talk all about him.
Yeah, we
will.
will.
Yeah, that guy gets a lot
He's
of
basically Ace.
time. Yeah. And like an asexual, like.
No, Ace is in
I mean, that's probably-
Starship Troopers or them.
Yeah, I mean that's probably also true.
Probably.
He's just. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's our. Make sure to tune in next week for T2. That's Terminator 2, not D2, the Mighty Ducks, or.
with what the fuck is his name?
Bro, you're gonna think
I
of
mean,
those since we
just
put.
give us time eventually.
Yeah, we'll get
be
there.
doing the Mighty
Emilio
Ducks.
Estevez.
Yeah,
Look,
Emilio
there's-
Estevez.
I
only
only
so
know
many
so
movies.
many movies, and they're all in the 80s, so
That's true.
I'm going to be running down into those eventually.
Actually, and the
Mighty
Mighty Ducks
Ducks.
ones would have been 81.
I've never seen it.
Dude, they're actually really good. Not
Yeah,
the point.
They're entertaining.
They're pretty good.
I mean, I
Anyways,
played hockey growing up, so I had to like them.
I didn't know that about you.
I didn't either.
Ah, fun
Oh,
facts.
Nathan's more tough than any of us. He eats at the Salty Spittoon.
What? Anyway, guys, make sure to tune in next week for T2. If you like the content we're doing, let us know in the comments below. What did you think? Did you feel like that this show peaked halfway through? Do you feel like it goes all the way through? Did you want one of those jerk-off machines? Let us know. Mason did.
That was the coolest shit. The whole thing. It was so random and it kept popping up.
Yeah.
It came out
Everyone
with
had
one.
It's
one.
actually the main character of the show.
It was.
Right.
Everyone had one.
Yeah. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the bell so you know whenever we upload. Can you hit the bell? And make sure to look at the number. If it's 69, don't subscribe. If it's 68, subscribe. If it's 70, unsubscribe. One. Just one.
What's that now?
If you guys remember our Idiocracy
Nice.
review, it was like when
yeah.
what's his name was like, I'm masturbate.
I'm baiting.
That's
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
That's what this guy was doing. That's what
Yeah.
everyone was doing in this show.
Everybody's baiting in
I'm
this
baiting.
show. Yeah, this show's pretty degenerate. Rebecca's the best. Anyways, that's our show. Make sure to tune in for T2 next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's 2 for T2.
So,
Nathan's
you
in
know,
Salty Spittoon.
Bringing up Idiocracy, I
How
feel like
tough are you?
Had a
Cyberpunk
bowl of
is
nails for
the
breakfast.
positive
So-
future, and
Without
Idiocracy is
Yeah,
like,
it's the same timeline. but-
terrible,
Right.
but like Idiocracy is actually the worst of the two possible futures.
Yeah.
I agree. Because there's like no hope in Idiocracy.
No.
Yeah.
None.
I know.